Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to give you guys my episode 6 review for Superman and Lois. If you guys are wondering why this video looks a little bit different, it's because I have to record on my phone. My SD card broke, so that's why I don't have my camera right now. But I'm ordering a new one right now as we speak, so don't worry about it. The videos will be back to more normal, hopefully by the next one. So yeah, in this video, I'm going to give you guys a episode 6 review of Superman and Lois. There's going to be a spoiler and non-spoiler section of this video. You guys can check the timestamps in the description down below. But before we get into it, if you guys are new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss any time I upload a new video or I go live. Also, if you guys want to support the channel a little bit extra, please click the first link in the description down below to check out my merch. Without wasting any more time, I want to get right into the review. Basically, I like to talk about everything that's non-spoiler first and then spoiler. So if you haven't already seen the episode, don't worry, I'll give a warning before I get to the spoiler part. I just go through the episode, talk about what I like. So we're going to start off this episode or this video by talking about how this episode had the worst acting. So I'm not an actor myself. I don't know what makes a good actor, but I can tell, you know, like when I watch a movie or a TV show and I can tell that someone's acting is bad. The acting was horrendous in this episode. The twins' acting was garbage in the beginning of the episode, or most of the episode. Towards the end, it was a little bit better, but most of the episode, the twins' acting was bad. The football coach's acting was so bad. Clark Kent's acting was meh in this episode, and then Sarah's acting was also bad. I didn't say the actors' names because I don't know all of the actors' names, but I just said the character names. I think they were good, but they just weren't anything crazy like the last couple episodes. The previous episodes, the acting was awesome. I loved it so much, but this episode just didn't feel the same. Next, I want to talk about the Marcus storyline. I actually thought it was pretty decent. It's the LexCorp one, the Luthor Lex dude. I thought his storyline was pretty cool. I mean, I don't really see where it's going. It's going in a good direction, but it's kind of like, it still feels kind of random to me, like the way he's introduced into Lois's life and how like he has to do with everything. The teaser for the next episode shows that he gets a suit again and he obviously does stuff with the suit, so that would be cool to see him in the suit again. We haven't seen him in a suit since like the third episode, it feels like, so we've gone 3 episodes without seeing him in the suit, and I would love to see him in a suit sometime soon. Obviously, I understand if he's not in a suit because he's trying to infiltrate, I guess, Superman and Lois's family to try and get Lois on his side and explain why Superman is bad. Also, we have a bunch of teasers, guys, about like from the CW. It's not just leaks. Like there's just a bunch of teasers where they show Black Suit Superman like demolishing buildings, and so it's obviously, if it's in the world, like in the normal world, if it's not in some like other world, like from where Lex is from, then that means Superman and Black Suit Superman are gonna fight, and I really want to see that. Another thing with the Marcus storyline was that it was kind of cliche at times. Like it was like the girl some girl would like use her like red eye powers, like that we saw in like 2 episodes ago. She would use her eye powers and then it would cut to an advertisement or some stupid stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it just felt super cheesy this episode when it came to that Marcus storyline. But another storyline where it wasn't that cheesy was the football storyline. So basically the main premise of this episode is that they go to play a football game in Metropolis, and so Jordan and John, they both used to go to that school, so they play against their former teammates and former schoolmates and classmates and stuff. And so that, like, the football game didn't feel cheesy, and that's one thing I really like about this show. They kind of keep everything from being super cheesy when it comes to the high school stuff. I would definitely say like the second episode was the only episode where the high school interactions felt really like basic and like cliche. But in this episode, it was actually really, really cool, and I loved what they did with it. Okay, I take back what I said a little bit. It is a little bit cliche, like at certain points, but it's still super fun. Like it's not like that cheesy to where it's annoying like other shows like All American. The Sarah storyline, the way they implemented it into the football game was pretty good, and then how they had the separate Sarah storyline this episode, that was pretty cool to me. It also had a great twist in terms of like the tension, which I'll talk about later. The tension in this episode was off the charts. I loved it. Another thing I really liked in this episode was the realistic situations between John and Jordan and then Superman. The parallels were pretty cool. I'll go into the parallels a little bit more later, but now I'm going to talk about Tag's storyline, and I like it because it's not rushed. Like they could have put him in they could have put him in every single episode before this and rushed his storyline and just had him do everything every single episode, but it feels like his storyline and his connections build up every episode, and to me that makes me actually care about the character. Whereas say in the Flash or the Arrow or even Supergirl, they give us a villain every single week and then they decide, okay, no, it's like they give us a villain every week and they just like use the villain up. We don't care about the villain, and it's more of an internal team conflict. Whereas here it seems like they're building up Tag. Superman sympathizes for Tag, and then all the other stuff. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, and I'll talk about it later in the video, but I do think that they do a good job with Tag, especially in not making him cheesy and making us actually care for him. The CGI was also pretty good in this episode. It was pretty good, and I wrote this down in my notes. It was pretty good until the last scene. He's flying, Superman is flying, and the CGI is just trash. It is so horrendously bad. I hate it so much. So then I had to delete the line and say it was like pretty good, but it was perfect up until the final scene. Though there wasn't too much action in this episode. I mean, every single episode so far seems to have like 1 to 2 pieces of action each episode, but I still think that's enough for now. I mean, later on I definitely want to see more action between Lex and the Superman, but and obviously Black Suit Superman. I just feel like they're kind of slowly building up to it, but hopefully there's a good payoff, because right now we're not having too much action. Obviously it's more family oriented. It's more Superman and Lois. It's not just Superman or not just Man of Steel. Like, it's both of the characters plus their family and all the surrounding characters. So I definitely want to see more of Superman fighting later on in this show, but I understand why they're not doing it right now, because they have to set a base and they have to like build up all of these initial characters to actually make us care about them. And if they rush the development of all these characters, it's just going to turn into every single other CW show like The Flash or The Arrow. So the parallels thing I was talking about earlier, the parallels between Clark and Jordan are so good. So there's this one scene where Superman is basically, this is like the one fight scene in the episode. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but basically Superman is just standing there. He's like taking bullets, whatever. He's Superman, he doesn't die, but like he's trying to fight the internal urge to like lash out basically. And the same thing happens to Jordan in a different situation, which I won't talk about because I don't want to spoil it for you. But the parallels and the way the camera cut, the visuals, it was just all so well done, and I really loved what they did with that scene. And I don't know how to describe it. Like, no other CW shows made me feel that way. Like, I was so anxious watching that, and I think that's the best feeling in the world when you're doing that. When you're watching a TV show and you're starting to feel anxious as to what's gonna happen next, I think that's the perfect way to feel. But I do not like Jordan's character. Oh my God, I've been saying this since like the first maybe episode actually. I just hate him. Like, other than the parallels with Superman, I hate his character so much. He feels like the root of every single problem in this show. And obviously, like, he has powers, so it's gonna be like he has to deal with it throughout the show, but I just don't care for him. And maybe I like John's character more because of how sidelined he is and how his story runs off of that, but I don't know. I really don't like Jordan's character. He just annoys me. So now I'm going to talk about spoilers. So if you haven't already seen the episode, you guys can click to the outro in 3, 2, 1, spoilers ahead. So the parallels between Superman saving Tag and then the boys' street fight, that was so cool. When he broke his hand, I was like, what happened? And then it went to an advertisement. Nevertheless, that scene was the parallel I was talking about, and it was so good. It was so much fun. And I just felt like as it kept cutting back and forth, like the first cut back and forth, I was like, okay, something's happening where it's kind of similar. And now I do it again. Like, they do it again, and then it's like they keep doing it back and forth, and now it's like, okay, what is gonna happen? Like, are they gonna do the same thing? Are they both gonna lash out, or is only one of them gonna lash out? It only ended up being where only one of them lashes out. But that kind of shows to the audience that Superman has more or less has this stuff under control, whereas Jordan really doesn't. And that's something that comes with learning with your powers, which we learned at the end of the episode. And also at the end of the episode, that was crazy when Jordan had that seizure. He's going to the fortress place. That was cool. That's where the episode ended, so that's where this spoiler talk is going to be ending as well. I actually love this episode a lot. I like the way that they balanced the school stuff and the home stuff, as well as Lois's storyline. I really love the way they balanced Lois's storyline in here. I didn't talk about it much in this video, but I'll talk about it more in next week's episode. I loved it a lot. I wouldn't say this is a top episode by any means, but it was still a super fun episode nevertheless. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you guys are new in here, again, make sure that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss anytime I upload a new video or I go live. If you guys haven't already checked out my merch, make sure to do so by clicking the first link in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.